another blitz. Hurts takes it right up the gut. Touchdown Eagles. Here's the deep ball. Got hit as he let it go. Oh, Devontae Smith. What a catch. From 54 for the win. On the way. It is there. And the Eagles remain unbeaten.
Hello again. Welcome back to the Flyin Style Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my co-host, Steven Maslij.
Hello, Matt. How you doing today?
I'm not doing great. I'm really not doing great. It's been a rough week for Eagles fans. Obviously, we took a tough loss this weekend. If you missed it, 35-31 to the Cardinals. The reminder of 3 and 12 Cardinals. Just wanted to remind everybody in case you missed it. Rough game for us. Obviously, it was a complete breakdown in the second half. First half, we started off a little bit strong, but even with that, time of possession was brutally towards them the entire game. And in almost every stat down the board, they absolutely crushed us. And that's a demoralizing loss to take, going into this playoff stretch here. So let's hear your thoughts, what you thought, and, not much to be happy about in this game.
Demoralizing. I don't know if I can have hope in this team. This team looks horrific. James Conner's running for 128 yards on us on 23 carries or 26 carries. We just looked horrendous on defense. It didn't look like we existed. The first half, obviously, we go into the halftime up 15. It's 21-6 at halftime. We didn't look fantastic. We got that pick six, which basically had them still have the ball the entire time. The complete total stat of the time possession was basically 40 minutes to 20 minutes. So they had it 2/3 of the time. It was sad. It was a complete breakdown in the end. We can go through the play calling in the last, I think was it under 4 minutes that we had the ball? When Jalen did those two rushes and then the screen, Smitty got hurt.
Two QB draws and a screen
to Gainwell. I just like that lady on TV. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what we're doing. We can't even get to a huddle. We had to waste a timeout in that sequence because we literally cannot even get personnel on the field that matters. Like Contenders going out and in, like not knowing what he's doing. I just don't understand how you're literally 17 weeks into a season. And it's game number 16, and we still can't figure it out. Yeah, that was game 16, and we still can't figure it out. Like,
came off too smooth for you, huh?
I know. I was like, there's no way I could just think of all this. I just don't get it. I just really just am sad in this team. We can't come up and make big plays when it counts. The offense wasn't egregiously horrible, but the Cardinals defense sucks. And the fact that we don't even we dominated the run with Swift. Like he got almost 5 yards a carry, but we only give him 13 times. Like we just had these quick 3 and outs on some drives that like I was like, why are we doing this? I don't understand what we're doing at all on some of this play calling. It's a brutal game, especially against a really crappy team that we should have dominated.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's hard to put a lot of blame on the offense in this game, considering they put up 31 points. It's hard to ask for a lot more from an offense. They had a decent game, although it wasn't perfect. Obviously, Hurts had a high completion percentage, but he only completed 167 yards. Did have 3 touchdowns though, which was impressive. And we were getting in the end zone. We weren't, lacking in drives. I think the big killer here was that our defense really was just on the field far too much. And for a defense that's been struggling all season and just hasn't clicked or figured it out, it was too much for them. And like Sidney Brown was saying, they got out physical at that point, as awesome as that Sidney Brown pick six was, like you said, they, got that long pick six and then turned around and got right back on the field again. And that time of possession really seemed to come back to bite them in the ass because those guys look tired, and I think everybody's seeing it. And, every time they ran the ball, you saw, our D linemen getting their backs turned to the ball. You know, see linebackers making bad reads, sloppy plays, not making tackles. It is disappointing to see from this team because, you know, like we've talked about all year, how much talent they have. You know, they are still an 11-5 team, regardless of all the drama and the, you know, antics of the freaking coordinators and whatnot. And it's still an 11-5 team. And as much as that game made it hard to have hope, you know, that was a harsh loss to take right before the playoffs, but still an 11-5 team, and the talent is still there. You know, we have one more game to get it in gear, and then, you know, they need to flip the switch mentally going into the playoffs, because I think what's really killing them overall, you know, not just coaching, not just performance, but mentally, they just seem either drained or not with it or not locked in. They're just like, they don't look like they love it right now. And it's hard to have confidence in a team that doesn't look like they have confidence in themselves. And they really just need to kick it into gear. And, you know, I've been saying this every week on the podcast, and I hate to be a broken record, but we need to see them really change something, you know, one more time, you know, going into this Giants game and going into the playoffs. And, you know, we gotta hope that they have it in them. There's not a whole lot more we can do, because we've seen the team that we've seen. I mean, you know, we've been trying to make up excuses and whatnot all year for why they're not finishing drives or why they're not, you know, demolishing teams or bulldozing them the way we saw last year. But this is the team that we're with this year. This is the 2023-2024 Eagles. So we got to ride with them. They still have all the talent in the world. We just got to hope that they can put the pieces together to figure out what their problems are and get it in line in time for the playoffs and, you know, catch some wind at the right time. And like I said, this game definitely took some wind out of their sails, and there's a few things that we can get into with that, with the offense, and obviously the defense was just horrific. But, like, you know, one stat that I really want to point out that we've been talking about all year with running the ball is that obviously in this game we only saw DeAndre Swift with 13 carries, and he still got 61 yards. So, you know, DeAndre Swift this year has been underutilized, underappreciated, but it's still his and the Eagles' first 1,000-yard rusher in a while. Or not in a while, sorry. I think Miles Sanders did it last year. But it's DeAndre Swift's his first 1,000-yard rushing season of his career. And we're underutilizing him. Imagine what he'd be doing with 23 to 25 carries per game. Not to mention
we have over 1,500 easy.
Exactly. Like I said at the beginning of the year, and I expected from him, because he is that good. And not to mention that the Eagles, when running the ball over 23 times a game, are 30-6. Every time they don't do that, they're 3-8. And I think that was as of December 12th. So if you add the losses that we've had in the meantime, then it would make us 4-11 in those games. So, like, I don't know why it's so hard for them to figure that out. I don't know why they don't see that, you know, that aspect of the game, and why we just keep letting ourselves make the same mistakes every week.
I just don't know how to have hope in this team anymore, to be honest, Matt. I can't like have any hope. Even if we dominate the Giants this game, this team just looks god awful. And you're gonna tell me, like, going into the Giants, stomp on them? We're not gonna. I don't even know if we can. I don't even know if we have the ability to. I over the last 5 weeks, I don't know this team. I think we have talent. I just think I'm really bad at seeing football players as talented, because I think our team is very talented on paper. I just don't know what else we can do. What else? What else? I don't know if we're capable of it at this point. I forgot how, like, if we are good. A fun stat out there. We did Nick Sirianni did something special. We're the only team in 35 years to begin the season 10-1 or better, and finish the season with 5 or more losses. So at least we're in the history books for back at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's unfun right now to be an Eagles fan. I will say that, and I just don't. Is there a reason to have hope? Like, I've been trying to just like bring myself back. I don't know if I can anymore. We can't win at home against Arizona Cardinals when we need it most. When there's a seeding on the line, the vision on the line. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we can't win against the Cardinals. This is
Yeah, man. I
everything. This
mean,
is a big game. It's not
it was
a throwaway
absolutely a
game.
big game. They even said before the game in press conferences. I know Josh Sweat had mentioned that they were treating every game like it was a playoff game and that it was a must-win game, and they didn't do that. Like, granted, I'm hoping that mentality switch, of being in a playoff atmosphere will, open up a little bit of a new realm to them and get them back into gear and, start treating themselves the way that, like, they are as a team. Like, they are super talented. Like, that has not changed. They have all the talent in the league, I mean, they've got great wide receivers. They've got a good quarterback who is obviously struggling this year. I want to say great, but he's obviously had a struggle of a year this year. But even with his struggles, he's still in tops of the league in passing yards and touchdowns and production, despite his turnovers. So still have a great quarterback, great wide receivers, a great running back, great O-line. We still have that offense there. The defense is obviously struggling, and, moving on into the future, we have a lot of young guys that are up and coming, and, hopefully Howie learns his lesson in regards to, making sure he gets a good linebacker in place, because this is the first time it's really come to bite the Eagles of not having a linebacker. We've always been known for not drafting linebackers much and not really pursuing any top-tier linebackers, but this is why you do that. This is why teams go after these sought-after linebackers in the draft or pick them up in free agency, because it matters to be able to cover the middle of the field and to be able to stop runs right at the line of scrimmage. And this D-line and linebacking core has done a terrible job of being able to cover up that middle of the field, get pressure on the quarterback, and stop the run. And they're the ones that need to wake up. I don't want to hear this "they're tired" bull crap, because, everybody else is playing the same amount of games in the league too. They got to wake up and figure it out and, kick it into gear for a few more games and just get it done. And I know that might be, insensitive of me as a fan sitting on my couch nowadays, but, like, come on, guys. Like, I know you've got a little bit more juice in you. I know you've got the talent there. Just give it your all every game. Like, I feel like I'm talking to, like, preschoolers right now.
It's ridiculous. They have no motivation at all. And we're going to have every playoff game on the road, so have fun with that. Because basically this division's locked up if Dallas beats Washington this week. So that's fantastic.
Which
Dallas
is
only way they
probably
can
likely, but don't disregard the fact that, these are two divisional games with the division on the line. So both the Giants and the Commanders are both going to be trying to play spoils on this for everybody. They don't want to see us get any glory. They don't want to see the Cowboys get any glory. So they're going to be two tough games. I wouldn't just count out the Commanders right away, but obviously it does seem more than likely that Dallas is probably going to lock up that seed. And but we still got to treat it like we can get after it. I don't want to see us benching our starters right off the bat, or if Dallas and Commanders are in a close game, I don't want to see us benching our starters at half. Like, if we have a chance to win this division, they better go after it and get it. So that's just my one piece I got to put in there.
So both of those games are going to be at 425. I just have one question for you. So you kind of alluded to it, but say Dallas is up like 30-0 at halftime, and we go into halftime and it's like a close game or whatnot. Do you have any different mindset of playing like different, like Hurts, AJ, like, or anything like that?
I mean,
or do
if Dallas is absolutely blowing them out, man, I wouldn't be opposed to the starters coming out and getting their rest. I really wouldn't. But that's only if that's the case and it's a complete blowout. Like, I mean, they got to be up like a pretty good margin. Like, I don't want to see us taking our guys out if they're up by 14 points exactly. Like, I want to make sure it's good and over. So I don't want to see us just settle. I don't want to see us settle for the division and just let Dallas take the win. That's all I don't want to see.
I feel like we have to play this game no matter what, because we haven't had a full game like being played by well. I mean, this team just hasn't we haven't seen it on paper. Them put themselves together. Obviously, we beat the Giants last or 2 weeks ago now, but we just need a mental win at this point. Like anything, we need to if we could dominate the Giants somehow. I'm not saying we are, because I don't know. we did last game other than turnovers, but I think we need the mental win. I think like even if Dallas smokes the Commanders, we need to smoke the Giants going in the playoffs and get something going for us. We have to have some type of momentum going in the playoffs because this is just we have to have something. Nothing. We have nothing right now. Like we're just down in the dumps. Everyone's like just angry at everything. We don't have any communication. I just don't know what's happening in that locker room / with the coaching staff. I don't know what Matt Patricia is doing on the defensive side. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot right now. I mean, there's a lot going on. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Obviously, everybody got to bear witness to A.J. Brown refuse to talk to the media and then, kind of make a little bit of a spectacle about coming back and talking to them in the middle of the week. And, I can't say I'm a fan of the way he handled the situation, but at the same time, as an athlete, I do understand it. He was full of emotion during that game. When they lost, he was ready to punch a hole through a wall, and he's got cameras in his face. And he actually took the smart road by saying, "I'm not talking right now," because he probably would have said something stupid. Absolutely. And, I think he did take the high route and saying he didn't want to talk. I wasn't a fan of him going on Twitter and saying, "I'll talk tomorrow," talk when you're ready to talk. Like the media is going to be in your face every day. Like just talk, don't make a whole thing out of it. But I did appreciate what he said and that he, came out and said the players tried to improvise the play against the Seahawks that, ended the game and that Nick Sirianni took the blame for it and that he's got the players' backs. And it's cool to see that, that relationship and bond is still there between the players and the coaches. And it was nice of him to emphasize that and talk about. I mean, it is. It's at least reassuring to hear that they're not like at each other's throats at the moment. Believe me, I'm not saying that his comments made me feel better as a fan that we're just going to figure it out now. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, this is going to be the turnaround point. But like, I mean, I guess it's nice to hear that he said that, but it's not anything, I didn't expect him to say.
That's true.
It's just, he's riding for his coach. He's not going to bail anybody out or say, throw anybody under the bus. And, they just want to figure out in like behind closed doors what they can do to get this shit together. And I think it starts with getting A.J. Brown the ball more often. People are trying to talk about how A.J. Brown fell off a cliff. No, A.J. Brown didn't fall off a cliff. He's getting less targets. We're not using him the correct way. We're not running the routes that he thrives in. Like we've talked many times on this podcast about the fact that we move away from the things that tend to work the most. And we have stopped using AJ the way that we started the year using him. And they got to turn that around. And I think that AJ, being as mad as he was warranted. Granted, as a leader, last piece against him, I can't say I agree with the way he handled it because he was letting go of a little bit too much emotion, couldn't control himself a little bit. And when you're a player like A.J. Brown, you're going to have the cameras in your face and you're going to have people critiquing every move you make. And, when you show that side of your, childishness, people are going to start questioning you. I do think that A.J. Brown is a good leader. I don't think that he's, a problem. I think that he's just a competitive spirit that wants to win. And he's frustrated just like we are right now. And doubly so because he's on the freaking team. We can be as mad as we want, but we're not the ones going out there and trying to win this game. We're just watching from the sidelines, not even from the sidelines, from our couches. A.J. Brown is in there doing it in the game. Like it means a hell of a lot more to him than it does to us. I guarantee it. And he wants to freaking win and he's pissed off. And I totally get it. I just hope that, they can talk to each other and figure out their problems and I just want to see them look like they're mentally resolved going into the playoffs. That's really all I want to see.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, I just need to see something. This team has given me nothing to think that they're going to turn it around. It's disappointing. It's sad, and I just hope that we're able to find an identity before the playoffs that's just kind of wipes us away. And even if we do win a playoff game, if we do, I would rather Nick Sirianni stay like quiet if we do win. I still think this team has potential to go to the Super Bowl. I really do, but
They absolutely do. Listen, I mean, obviously it's been disappointing. They're not giving us a lot of hope. It's hard to have confidence in what they've shown us. However, it does not mean that they do not, like I said earlier in this video, it does not mean that they don't have the talent. Going into this season, we expected the best out of them. And to be honest, regardless of how it happened, this is about the record we said we were going to finish up with. So this is about what we expected them to be, regardless of how it ended up that way. Not to mention that, going back to the Eagles Super Bowl year when Carson Wentz got hurt and we had to put Nick Foles in for the last few games, and the last few games of the regular season, he looked atrocious, like absolutely terrible. Did any fans have any hope going into those playoffs? Absolutely not. If you told anybody we were winning that Super Bowl that year, everybody would call you crazy in the city. Every single person. But then what happened? You win an exciting wild card game. All of a sudden, momentum's up a little bit. Everybody's excited. Go in there into the divisional game, and you absolutely blow the lights off. Now everybody's pumped up. Everybody's excited. Like now, the momentum is there, and you just take it and move it forward past that point. And that can absolutely happen again for this team. They are not down and out of it. They are not eliminated from Super Bowl contention. They are still in this race. And there's no saying whether they can or can't turn it around. We just got to sit and watch, unfortunately. But just, something you sent me that I always find to be fun, those little comparisons to old history. And
the Ravens.
Yeah, like goes back to the Ravens of 2012 when, in Ray Lewis's retirement, whole spiel of the season. And they were trying to get him one last run before the end of his career. And that year they won the Super Bowl. They finished out their season with a win in OT, 3 losses, a win, and a loss to end the season, which is the exact same situation that we are in right now with a win in OT, 3 losses, a win, and a loss, although there's now a week 18, so we'll have 1 extra game on top. But they did it as well. I'm sure they were counted out at the end of the season. Nobody expected them to pull it around and win the Super Bowl that year. The NFL.
They have a defense.
They did have a defense. They didn't have that much of an offense either.
That's true.
Obviously, defense does tend to win championships, and it's hard to have confidence in ours right now. Like I'm not going to go ahead and say like this Super Bowl is freaking ours. I can't say I'm confident in saying something like that. But I'm not going to say I'm giving up hope on this team because they absolutely are still capable of doing it. But for the time being, we're all going to be sitting here pissy and annoyed because they've been terrible. And, we just got to flip the switch going into the playoffs. It's going to be a different game, a different season. And, hopefully we see the way we started this year come back around.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's all you can do at this point. I was pissed. Like, I don't want to be pissy. Like, I really don't. I don't want to sit here and just be upset about this team because first of all, that doesn't help anything. Second of all, like, what's the point of not having hope in a team if they do go on a run? It's just sad and annoying. The only thing is, it's just kind of frustrating seeing this team go through these games and just Smitty getting hurt on that screen pass to Gainwell just wanted to make me throw my phone through the TV. And I know I shouldn't even be mad at all, but it's like holy crap! Like, what are we doing? I just don't understand why we're not. Our identity is running the football, and we said it all year. I just really want us to pound this Giants team, and I don't really care if we do or don't, honestly, because I hope the Giants beat us. Honestly, I hope the Giants beat us and Dallas loses because that way, like, we're just super sad because we suck. That'd be awesome. I don't
relax over there, pessimists. We don't want them to lose. We're not expecting a loss. But what I do think we need to see is, yeah, I get it. But regardless, we want to see a win. We want to see some confidence going into that playoff week. And on top of that, gosh, I lost my thought. Pick it up, Steve.
All right. So going into the playoffs, if everything were to stay the same today, we would have the 6th seed. Right now, our matchup would be against Tampa Bay. They're playing the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. So what's at stake? They clinch the division with if they win, or if the New Orleans Saints lose. So it's either going to be. I'm gonna double check if I'm 100% right.
We would either be seeing the Saints or the Bucks.
I believe so. Yes, unless
the Cowboys were to lose and we were to take the 2 seed, in which who would we be playing?
if we take the 2 seed,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. But we would play. So mean. We would play Green Bay. We play a lot of that. That scenario is a lot more complicated. So right now, sitting there is Green Bay at 8-8. Seattle could also get in if Seattle could get in if Green Bay loses. I think it's the same. Green Bay basically controls their own destiny for that last spot. Now if the Vikings were to beat Green Bay, plus Seattle loses, plus Tampa Bay loses, so Tampa Bay and the Saints are still in that contention for that. So basically the Bears aren't really in it, but they just need they need 5 other teams to lose. So I'm just kind of counting those scenarios.
I thought the Bears technically got eliminated at the end of this week.
Did they?
I think so.
Okay. Well, then it's Minnesota, New Orleans, Seattle, Green Bay. Minnesota needs a lot more to happen than not happen for them. So I'm basing it around basically Green Bay, Seattle, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay is still fighting against the Saints for the division. Actually, I think the Falcons actually have a chance to win. It's a lot of scenarios.
There are a lot of scenarios. I mean,
but
I'm pretty sure only 4 teams have been eliminated from playoff contention going into Week 18, meaning the 28 teams are still in contention. And there's a lot of scenarios that can make that happen. And although most of them unlikely, for the most part, people are aware of who's going to make what. But barring some crazy scenarios, some people might be able to sneak their ways in.
Yeah. Basically, barring some crazy scenarios, we're in, and I really doubt that we're going to get the 2 seed. I really doubt that Dallas is going to lose to Washington. But like you said, anything could happen. I didn't expect us to lose to the Cardinals, so anything's open.
Dallas lost to the Cardinals too this year. Don't forget.
That's true, and we all just kind of overlooked that, right? Because it's happened so early in the season. It is a good. It's just recency bias. It's creeping up on me too. I always been against it, and I always. It's kind of crazy.
It hurts when things happen in succession the way it's happened to us right now.
Yeah,
that's the big problem.
That is the big problem. But as it's looking right now, we're going to be playing if Tampa Bay beats Carolina, which that's still a divisional game where Carolina still has a chance. They kind of match up kind of pretty well to Tampa Bay, believe it or not. But either we're going to play the Saints or Tampa Bay, unless some crazy thing happens.
Yeah.
Not that crazy, but yeah, that's what the playoff picture is looking like right now. Going into today, who's your Super Bowl prediction that just before Week 18? Not because Week 18 doesn't really matter.
Well, unfortunately, I think the easy pick right now is obviously the 49ers and the Ravens. They definitely look the strongest in the league at the moment. They kind of stand alone by themselves. Obviously, the Ravens looking even stronger. So, 2 weeks in a row against Super Bowl contenders and the 49ers and the Dolphins, and not even just winning, but absolutely demolishing both teams. And they look very, very strong with a stout defense, and the offense is clicking on all cylinders. So they look like the favorites for the Super Bowl in general right now. Then obviously you got the 49ers on the NFC side, who have probably the best roster in the league. And when they're clicking, they are also just as hot as the Ravens are. And then, on both sides, you've got, the Chiefs, who can always be sneaky, especially in the playoffs when you've got Mahomes. You've got the Cowboys on our side, the Eagles, and you've got, I want to say the Bills, but the Bills can only either make the playoffs as the 2 seed or not at all, which is incredibly interesting. So I'm curious to see. I know. So I'm curious to see if they're going to manage their way into the playoffs or not. But if they do, they're going to be a dark horse team as well. I think they've come on as of late and are catching a hot streak at the right time as well. So they would definitely be my dark horse from the other side. But it's definitely a lot of injuries around the league to quarterbacks and teams. Definitely an unhealthy season around the league in general. Not a lot of teams are playing their best football right now, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the rest of that playoff picture pans out.
Yeah. You mentioned the Bills, and that's like a dark horse team out of the AFC, I think, for like a lot of people. You can never go against Patty, like you said. If I were to pick today, I feel like the Ravens choke too. The Buffalo chokes too. I had the Ravens as my start of the season AFC pick, but I do have that nice little feature on it. But I have to go with the Bills. I think the Bills are playing really good football right now. They're on a streak. That's recency bias too. And I just can't pick the 49ers to win the NFC because I really hate them. So I have to go with the Eagles. I'd rather not. So if we do win, we're gonna end up playing. If we can't look this far ahead yet because we don't even know the seeding. I'm just trying to look at the second round. If all the favorites were to win, I think we're gonna be favored over Tampa or the Saints. Then we would be playing the Niners in the second round. But I still think I'm picking the Eagles out of the NFC too. I don't know why. As much
I
as
can hear the troubledness in your voice when you realize that we have a chance to play the 49ers again.
I kind of want to. Whether we get crap stopped or not, I've tried out the curse, Sean. I really hate the Niners. I really just don't want to see them. I almost rather see that now. I want to see the Lions take it if we don't, honestly.
Let's not worry about the divisional round yet. Let's get through week 18 against the Giants and see how we do with that, and then we'll get into the playoffs. So right. before we get going, we're not going to talk about the Giants today because this game, doesn't have a whole lot of meaning. We just got to go out there and win. Hopefully, we see better play calling from both sides of the ball. A little bit more, what everybody's wanting to see, and a little less of the bubble screens and draws. So let's just go right into the score prediction. Let's not take too long. What are your thoughts? What do you think we're going to end up with this game with?
I think it's going to be 28-14. We dominated last game, honestly. And I know I keep saying we're going to blow out the team. So probably going to end up losing. But just on paper, just how we looked last time against this team. If we don't turn the ball over 3 times, we win by at least 2 touchdowns. I think the defense is embarrassed and ends up stepping up here. This Giants, I think we finally get some sacks this game. The Giants O-line was on pace at least. I don't know where they rank now with giving up the most sacks in NFL history, but I don't think they're at that pace anymore. But I think this has to be a game where it's just a mental click of us being just seeing it work. We really just need to just see it work going into the playoffs, and I think we can do that, especially against the Giants team. I know the Giants really want it really bad. I just don't think they're talented at all. That's horrible, but I think this is a mental check for us, and I think we go out there and we dominate this game.
All right. Well, I think I might have taken the same score prediction for last week's game, considering I expected the same thing to happen. But I'm gonna say that like I said in last game against the Giants, without those 2 turnovers, it would have looked like a lot more of a blowout. I'm thinking we're going to see the same sort of thing this game without the turnovers, and I'm thinking it's going to be 34-14. I'm hoping that we can see the offense click a little bit. Might be a little bit too optimistic still, but I'm going to stay optimistic regardless. So, don't expect it to change. And hopefully we just see better play calling on both sides of the ball and not shoot ourselves in the foot for, Christmas sake. So, let's just see.
Let's just run it, and then we'll be back here next week to hopefully have a little bit more positivity going in, even though
yes, sir. And we'll really start digging into playoffs, who we're going to be playing, what the other games are going to look like, and maybe we'll even start dropping some win-loss predictions for each playoff game for the rest of the season that we're still in it with you guys. So
I like that.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We always appreciate it. Please feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. As always, we always appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to be back next week, like I said, with the playoff content. Hopefully you guys are here for it. We're excited. And hopefully this Eagles team can give us a little bit more to be excited about further. So, go Birds. Can't wait to see you guys next week, and peace out.